Okay, got a couple cabinets here that I'm ready to do the magnets and the doors and the face frame. To do that, I'm just going to put a mark on the door and the face frame, the door and the face frame, top and bottom. Do that on both cabinets and then go to work putting the magnets in. Okay. I've transferred these marks that I put on the face frame around to the back side, top, bottom, on both face frames, and now I'm ready to go to work. Take my jig that I made for the face frames, set this fence inside of the door frame here, center the slot with the mark that I made, clamp it in place. Should explain that when I'm doing this being a face frame and the inside, I want to keep the magnet that I put in the face frame as close as I can to the inside of the cabinet. So it's going to be hugging this inside very close. It's only going to be in there just a fraction of an inch. And on the door, it's going to be just the opposite. I'm going to put the magnet so that it's near the outside edge of the door, so that when it closes, it wants to tend to actually overclose and keep it in tight against whatever door stops that you use. So for that reason, I'm just setting the depth of this cut at 1/2 inch. Hopefully you can see that. The slots for stacked 2 magnets will be going in each one of these. I have to do the tops and bottoms on 2 cabinets, all the same. All right, I got 8 mortises cut for the magnets, and I'm about to mix up a batch of Bondo, and hopefully it doesn't set up before I get everything, all 8 of them done. I've already checked. The magnets all slip in to all the mortises nice. So we're going to see how this goes. I'm going to say hopefully I can do all 8 of them before this sets up. If it starts to set up, I stop right there and mix up a new batch. That was a lot. Too much. It's going to set up quick. I can use this magnetic or this metal spat to force a little bit in there before I put the magnets in. But if I try to use it to smooth, those magnets are going to grab hold of it and they're going to pull out. Okay, I've transferred all the marks from the front of the door around to the inside, so I know where to put the mortise. My jig is set up on the door, and we're going to start. We've got 8 of these to do. Oh, by the way, for the door, the mortises on the door, I've switched over to an 1/8 inch router bit in my router. I've checked the depth and we're good to go on that. And that's the mortise in the door. Seven more to go. Okay, all the mortises are cut in the doors. All 4 doors have the mortises cut. And I came back on the face frames and sanded all the Bondo down flush. Now I put the magnets in the door. First off, I made this little sanding block. Took a core box bit at 5/32 core box bit, ran that groove in a piece of scrap and lined it with a piece of 120 grit self-adhesive sandpaper. Took some scrap wood, the same thickness as these mortises, 1/8 inch. I take these, the square ends, a few strokes back and forth. That's all it takes, and I've got the perfect radius for at least one end to go in these mortises. Take these over to the table saw. I got a block set up, a stop block. All these mortises are the same length because of the jig that we made. So I can batch cut a bunch of these. So once I take it from there, I bring them back and sand the other end until they fit in there just real nice and perfect. Hope you can see that. Now the magnet. Got to make sure I got the right door in the right location because I don't know the polarity of any of these magnets that are in there. So I'm just going to do that. Take magic marker and put an X. I know that X has to go away from the opening, down. I'll drop that in there. Take my plug. Can't use anything metal. Put the glue over here or else I'm going to pull that magnet out of there. That's cool. Don't take much. I'm going to shave this down for you just so you see how nice and clean that looks. Check to make sure that polarity is right before I went too far, but yeah, take a look at that. How that holds that right in place. Take a look at that plug. Once that's stained, you will not be able to see that at all. You'll never know it's there. You're not going to have any plugs in the top of the door, anywhere showing. And when I think about all the time it would take to go through and drill 8 different holes and then make the plugs, and then never be able to match the grain perfectly. In my opinion, this is a much cleaner look, and it is a lot faster. Those jigs, they really didn't take. Truthfully, I made both of those, the first set I made, in probably 10 minutes with that scrap wood. It took a lot longer to film it than it did to make it. Hopefully you understood. Any questions, let me know. But there you go. Once the rest of the magnets are in and these are centered more, that's going to be even a better grip. All right, 7 more to do. The other thing is, if you don't have the router bit to make this sanding block, it's no big deal. You can just take your scrap and round the edges over on a piece of sandpaper. It doesn't take long. It's a thin piece of stock, so it doesn't take long to get the radius you want. And that would work just fine right there. Cut it, do the other edge, and you're good to go. And if when you're making these, you make them a little bit wedge shaped, so that maybe they just fit nice and then wedge in so that they're tight against the, eliminate all gaps. That helps. Instead of trying to make those edges perfectly parallel, wedge them a little bit. Okay? Okay, we're done with all the magnets in the face frames and the doors. I'm real happy with the way they turned out. They're strong. I read an article someplace that a person put out about the added benefits of stacking 2 or more of these magnets together to get a stronger bond. And after reading that, that's how I came up with the idea of putting 2 magnets in the face frame and 1 magnet in the door rail. It's a super strong, I mean, that's a strong pull right there. All told, not counting the time that I took to make the separate jigs, one for the face frame, one for the doors, both of these, both sets of doors took me an hour. That includes sanding everything down flush. And you take a look, you try to find that plug there, and you can't see it now. When it gets stained, that'll be completely invisible. It's there. There's a magnet in there, right there, but you can't see the plug at all. Compare that to the time it would have taken to bore the holes, make the plugs, put in the plugs, shave them down on 1, 2, 3, 4, on 16 holes. You would have had to done 8 in the doors and 8 in the face frames. It would have been 2 or 3 times as long. This method, the face frame mortises are filled with Bondo. seriously, it would take an hour. If I wasn't making a video and just putting these together, it would be an hour. Hour's time. And you're coming up with that. Once these get centered, they're going to be real nice. Okay, that's it for today. Okay, this is the completed cabinet with concealed door magnets. First thing you notice, or actually don't notice, when you open it up, is that you can see no plugs in this face frame. Or on the top either, but the lighting's terrible up there. On the inside of the door, there is a plug hole right there. It's very hard to see. It's within about 3/32 of the top of the door. So this magnet and the corresponding magnet on the face frame are very close together, so there's a better grip. Also, no plug holes on top of the door. As invisible as I can possibly make them. I'm going to take a door off and lay it down and see if I can't get a better shot of these concealed plugs. Okay, here's one of the doors laying down with the best lighting I can get. Now that plug is there. It's hard for me to even pick it out. Almost totally invisible. The rest of the inside of the door. Coming up to the top, there's another plug right there. Again, if you didn't know where it was, you would never be able to pick it out. No plug holes on top of the door. Completely invisible. Same on the bottom. That's the best feature of doing these concealed magnets this way, is that they're completely concealed. Another benefit is that they're much faster. With the jigs that I've made up and the router, I could whip them out in less than half the time as traditional plugs. Another benefit is I can get these magnets so close to the surface that they hold better. So all around, I like this system a lot better than the plugs. Hope you enjoyed it. If you found some benefit to it, maybe hit the subscribe button. Thank you.